popular idli recipe post has a lot of tips on making idli batter and step-by-step photos for making soft idlis at home. So take your time to read this detailed guide on making soft idlis at home and enjoy the pics. After a lot of requests, I am finally writing a detailed post on how to make fluffy and soft idlis at home. I don't know what took me so long to write the post on idli. It is something I make home regularly. Idlis, one food that I grew up having. Idli was a regular breakfast at our home. Come Sunday, and there would be idlis and dosas for breakfast as well as lunch. I would see the way my mom would soak the rice, deciliter, and then grind it and then leave it to ferment. This was a regular Saturday ritual in my house, and I knew that on Sunday we would get steaming hot idlis with chutney for breakfast. For lunch it would be dosa with sambarand, veggie. I never knew that when I would start making idlis, I would run into problem the very first time I make these. I had seen countless times idli preparation in my home. I was least expecting that the idlis made for the first time for my mom-in-law would become an embarrassment for me. I was working hard to make the idlis soft. The idlis were not soft and fluffy at all. I had done everything so perfectly, and yet the idlis became a little hard. I know the aroma of the batter when they are being ground and mixed. I know the slightly sour aroma of the fermented batter. When I had seen this batter, I knew that the batter had not fermented well in the cold winters of Delhi. Still, I made idlis from the batter, and all of us had not so soft idlis, much to my embarrassment. But now I am good in making idlis. The hubby just loves the idlis I make at home. Having a food science background, I also know how fermentation is important to get the best results in certain food products like wines, cheese, yogurt, breads, etc. Idlis and dosas also fall in the fermented food category. What contributes to fermentation is the optimum temperature conducive for that specific food to get fermented and to give desired results. In the case of idli batter, the temperature is very important. Generally, the warmer Indian temperatures are the best for making idlis. The ideal temperature is between 30 to 32 degrees C. The wild airborne yeast causes the fermentation process, and it is drawn from air by the deciliter and fenugreek seeds. At home we would never add fenugreek seeds. Idlis were just made with rice and deciliter. Still, they would be soft and fluffy. When I make idlis, I do add fenugreek seeds, as I add split deciliter and not whole deciliter, as I don't get them here. The wild yeast on the whole deciliter aids in the fermentation process. The point to note is that it is not only yeast, but some anaerobic bacteria also that also help in the fermentation process. So remember, temperature and wild yeast are your best friends while making idli. This is also the case with breads. Temperature and baker's yeast are my best friends when I make breads. Luckily, I have not had a single disaster when making breads at home. Now we come to the type of rice that is used for idli. From my personal experience, I have used basmati rice, sonamasari rice, kokum rice in various combinations for making idlis and never had any problem. I also make idlis using half of basmati rice and parboiled rice. They have also come out well. When I was working for a project 1.5 years ago, we had a cook who would make very soft idlis. I asked her once how her idlis were so soft. She told me that she adds some poha/flattened rice or cooked rice to the idlis, just a handful, and these would make the idlis soft. My mother would never add poha or cooked rice to the idlis, and her idlis also used to be soft. But my mom would put damp muslin cloth on the idli mold and then steam the idlis. As a result, the softness of the idlis would be more pronounced. The recipe posted here is what I follow now after listening to our cook's advice. For this recipe I have used basmati rice and own red parboiled rice. I do not get idli rice here, so I make idlis with the own red parboiled rice along with regular rice. This is my standard recipe for making both idlis and dosa. Now, I have also added methi seeds along with deciliter and some poha. The proportion of rice and deciliter is always a matter of controversy. So I suggest experiment with different types of rice and come to your own standard measurements, which will give you perfect idlis. The day the batter was fermented, I made idlis. I served the idlis with mom's recipe of Kerala sambar and coconut chutney. The next day I made masala dosa with the same idli batter. The dosas became crisp and got a nice golden color due to the addition of poha. Don't believe me? Take a look at the pic below. 1. Pick and rinse the deciliter and rice. Soak the deciliter with fenugreek seeds in a separate bowl or pan. Soak the rice with the poha separately. Soak for 4 to 5 hours. 2. Drain the deciliter, but don't throw away the water. Reserve the water. 3. In a wet grinder, add the deciliter. 4. Add 1 or 2 tablespoons of the reserved water and grind the deciliter. Keep on adding a few tablespoons of water in between grinding. The batter should be light and fluffy when completely ground. 5. Pour the deciliter batter in a deep pan or bowl. 6. Drain the rice and poha. This pic is before I drained the rice and poha. 7. Add them in the wet grinder. 8. Use the deciliter strained water to grind the rice and poha. 2. Keep on adding a few tablespoons while grinding. The rice should be completely ground. When you feel the batter with your fingertips, the batter should not feel grainy. It should be smooth and paste-like. I add too much water in the beginning. Keep on adding little water in between. Remember that batter should not be thick or thin. I hope all the pics give you an idea about the consistency of the batter. 9. Now add the rice batter to the deciliter batter and mix well. 10. Add salt and mix it with the rest of the batter. 11. Mix the batter well. Cover the bowl or container with a lid and keep the batter in a warm place. It should be left undisturbed for 8-9 hours. Don't use an airtight lid. 12. Next morning you will see this. The batter will rise and double up and might even throw away the lid as it happened with this idli batter. You can see the fermented batter bursting from the edges. My calculations of the batter versus the pan went wrong. 13. Time for making idlis. Now take your idli steamer or pressure cooker. Add some water and keep it on the stove with the fire on. Grease the idli mold with oil. Gently and lightly swirl the batter. Don't overdo it. Now with a spoon pour portions of the batter in the greased idli molds. 14. Keep the idli mold in the steamer or pressure cooker. If using a pressure cooker, then cover the pressure cooker with its lid. Remove the vent weight/whistle from the lid. Steam the idlis for approximate 10 to 12 minutes. 15. Check for doneness by inserting the toothpick. If it does not come out clean, then keep again for a few more minutes. When done, remove the idli mold from the cooker. Remove the idlis. They come out easily. Don't overcook as then they become dry. 16. Serve hot idlis with sambarand and coconut chutney. 1 cup basmati rice or sona masari rice or regular rice, cup parboiled rice. 1/2 cup deciliter/black gram, skin whole or skin spilt. 1/4 cup poha/flattened rice. 1/4 teaspoons methix seeds/fenugreek seeds. Water. Salt. Oil to apply to the idli molds. Instructions. 1. Pick and wash both the rice and deciliter. 2. Soak the rice and poha in water for 4 to 5 hours. 3. Soak the deciliter with methix seeds separately for 4 to 5 hours. 4. Drain the soaked deciliter. Reserve the water. 5. Grind the deciliter methix seed with some of the reserved water till you get a smooth and fluffy batter. 6. Grind the rice to make a smooth batter. 7. Mix both the batters together in a large bowl or pan. Add salt and mix well. 8. Cover and let the batter ferment for 8 to 9 hours. 9. After the fermentation process is over, the batter will become double in size and rise. 10. Gently mix the batter. 11. Grease the idli molds. 12. Pour the batter in the molds. Steam the idlis in a pressure cooker or steamer. 13. If using pressure cooker, remove the vent weight whistle. 14. Steam for 10 to 12 minutes or until the idlis are done. 15. Remaining batter can be stored in the refrigerator. 16. Serve the steaming hot idlis with coconut chutney and sambarand.